The ground beneath our feet is never still. But lately, scientists say something feels different. The Pacific Plate, Earth's largest slab of crust, stretching across nearly a third of the planet, is stirring in unusual ways. Mega-quakes, eerie silences, and volcanic awakenings are appearing across multiple edges of the Pacific Rim. And here's the unsettling truth. These events may not be isolated accidents, but connected signals of a larger shift. The question isn't if the Pacific Plate will break again. It's where and how soon. And the first region scientists fear may be closest to snapping. It sits just off America's coast. Just off the Pacific Northwest coast lies one of Earth's most dangerous sleeping giants, the Cascadia Subduction Zone. For over 3 centuries, this fault has stayed silent. The last time it broke, in the year 1700, it ripped with such force that the earthquake reached magnitude 9.0. The tsunami it triggered raced across the Pacific, striking Japan thousands of miles away, with no warning at all. Now scientists say the clock is ticking again. Every century, stress builds as the Juan de Fuca Plate grinds beneath North America, and with more than 50 million people living from California to British Columbia, the stakes could not be higher. In September 2025, Cascadia stirred slightly, a 5.8 quake off Oregon, followed by tremors hours later. Minor to most, but for geophysicists, they were reminders that this fault is not asleep, only waiting. If Cascadia ruptures again, experts warn it could unleash one of the largest natural disasters in U.S. history. Cities like Seattle, Portland, and Vancouver could be hit within minutes, followed by a tsunami swallowing entire coastlines. And Cascadia isn't alone in its silence, because to the south, another subduction zone has stayed unnervingly quiet, and history says it's overdue. Along the northern coast of Chile lies what scientists call a seismic gap, a stretch of fault that hasn't broken in far too long. History is clear. In 1868, this region produced a magnitude 8.8 quake. In 1877, another struck at 8.5, devastating coastal cities. Then came a century of quiet. Finally, in 2014, a strong quake hit near Iquique, but instead of relieving the strain, it only snapped part of the fault. Scientists warned it was an appetizer, not the main course. Today, geodetic data shows a massive slip deficit still locked in place, enough to fuel another earthquake as large as the ones from the 1800s, maybe larger. For the millions living along Chile's narrow coast, where desert meets sea, vigilance isn't optional. The silence itself is the warning. And while Chile waits for the Earth to move, another corner of the Pacific has already begun to rumble in rapid, restless bursts. In March 2025, the Aleutian Islands shook with a swarm of quakes, 8 above magnitude 5 in just 2 days. This wasn't the typical main shock aftershock pattern. Instead, the crust buzzed like a hive disturbed, with multiple quakes striking in rapid succession. For seismologists, that's a warning sign. Swarms can mean harmless chatter, or they can signal stress redistributing across the megathrust. And Alaska's megathrust is no stranger to catastrophe. In 1964, the Good Friday quake ripped through at magnitude 9.2, the second largest earthquake ever recorded. It reshaped coastlines, triggered tsunamis, and left scars still visible today. Could today's swarms be whispers before another roar? Nobody knows for sure. But thousands of miles west, another region has already proven just how quickly whispers can escalate into a monster. Off Japan's southern coast lies one of the most feared seismic zones in the world, the Nankai Trough. For centuries, this trench has produced devastating twin earthquakes, ruptures so massive they can span hundreds of kilometers, often striking in pairs only days apart. The last time a full rupture occurred was in the 1800s. Since then, pressure has been quietly building. But in 2023 and 2024, something unusual happened. Instead of a sudden jolt, part of the fault began to creep slowly, what scientists call a slow slip event. Over weeks, instruments recorded the fault sliding almost silently beneath the seafloor. At first, that seemed like good news. Better a gentle shift than a catastrophic rupture. But the reality may be the opposite. These slow slips often mean the shallow edges are sliding, while the deeper sections remain locked, storing enormous strain. Like a bandage peeling at the edges, it could be exposing the point where the real break will come. Then, in August 2024, a magnitude 7.1 quake struck nearby. For Japan's meteorological agency, it was enough to issue a rare public statement. The probability of a Great Nankai rupture had become relatively higher than usual. That's no small warning. Japan is famously cautious in its messaging, often downplaying risk to avoid panic. For them to break that silence is unprecedented. and the stakes couldn't be higher. Tens of millions live within striking distance. Tokyo, Osaka, Nagoya, Yokohama all sit on soft coastal plains that amplify shaking, and history shows Nankai quakes often generate towering tsunamis that reach land within minutes. The question haunting scientists isn't if Nankai will rupture, but when. And if Japan's fault is showing signs of stress, another region to the north may already have crossed the line. In the remote far east of Russia, the Kamchatka Peninsula is one of Earth's most violent seismic zones. And in July 2025, it delivered a chilling reminder of its power. A magnitude 8.8 earthquake tore through the Kamchatka Trench, one of the strongest quakes recorded in over a century. Only a handful of events in modern history have matched it. But this wasn't a sudden surprise. The year before, a magnitude 7.0 rattled the region. 10 days before the monster, a 7.4 struck nearby. Each time, aftershocks multiplied, as if the fault was reshuffling stress in preparation. Then came the main event, a rupture spanning hundreds of kilometers, releasing centuries of locked strain in one colossal pulse. Shock waves raced across the Pacific. Over 100 aftershocks followed within just 2 days, including 5 stronger than magnitude 6. The rupture zone was so vast it slightly shifted Earth's rotation. Yet here's the paradox. The tsunami was smaller than expected. Deep ocean buoys measured less than 1 meter. By sheer luck, the slip concentrated in places that displaced little water. Coastal towns were spared disaster this time. But the story didn't end there. Just 4 days later, a dormant volcano named Koryaksky awoke after centuries of silence. Ash and gas burst skyward, leading scientists to ask a haunting question. Did the quake itself trigger the eruption? If true, it's proof that Earth's systems are not separate. When tectonic plates shift with this kind of violence, the effects can reverberate into the magma chambers below, unleashing both earthquakes and volcanic fire. Which raises a larger question. Are these disasters really independent or part of a single connected story written by the Pacific Plate? So what ties all of this together? Cascadia's tremors, Chile's silence, Alaska's swarms, Japan's slow slips, and Kamchatka's monster quake. All of it is driven by a single force, the Pacific Plate, Earth's heavyweight, moving northwest a few inches every year. It sounds slow, but over centuries, that motion piles up unimaginable strain where the plate collides with its neighbors. Most years, the stress is released in small quakes that barely make headlines, but when too much energy builds up, the release can be sudden and cataclysmic. That's when mega-quakes strike. Here's the unsettling possibility. These events may not be separate. Some scientists argue that one great rupture can nudge others thousands of miles away, transferring stress, altering Earth's rotation, even redistributing mass across the planet. Could Cascadia, Chile, Japan, and Kamchatka all be part of the same larger cycle? The science is still unsettled, but the pattern unfolding today has many wondering if Earth's largest tectonic engine is rumbling in sync. And earthquakes may not be the only danger, because when the ground shifts, the volcanoes above often follow. When tectonic plates shift, the effects don't stop at earthquakes. They can awaken the fiery world beneath our feet. In Kamchatka, the 8.8 quake was followed just days later by a volcanic eruption, a rare but chilling reminder that seismic stress can stir magma systems. In Chile, a chain of snow-capped volcanoes towers above the Andes, each fueled by the same subduction forces that drive the quakes below. And in North America, the Cascadia Fault is linked to the Cascade volcanoes, giants like Mount Rainier and Mount St. Helens, looming over millions of people. When the ground rips apart, it doesn't just unleash shaking. It can unclamp magma, destabilize reservoirs, and trigger eruptions. The result, disasters that combine the worst of both worlds, earthquake and volcano, quake and fire. Which makes the question even more urgent. If we can't stop the Pacific Plate, how do we prepare to live with it? The Pacific Plate is unstoppable. It has been moving for millions of years, and it will keep moving long after we're gone. But humanity is not powerless. In Japan, networks of ocean bottom sensors and GPS stations track even the tiniest slips along the seafloor. Their early warning systems can now send alerts seconds before the shaking begins, enough time to save countless lives. In Chile, scientists refine slip models every year, while coastal towns drill tsunami evacuations so that when alarms sound, people know exactly where to run. Along Cascadia, the US and Canada are deploying one of the most advanced seismic monitoring networks on the planet, and cities from Seattle to Santiago are redesigning skyscrapers, bridges, and power grids with built-in shock absorbers, flexible joints, and automatic shutoffs. And it's not just infrastructure. Education matters too. From school children practicing drop, cover, and hold on, to entire communities rehearsing coastal evacuations, people are learning to live with the reality of a restless Earth. Preparedness doesn't stop the quakes, but it transforms survival. It turns seconds into safety, and disasters into recoverable tests of resilience. The Pacific Plate will never stop moving. It's the engine of Earth's geology, grinding, colliding, reshaping the world beneath us. We can't control it, but we can choose how ready we are when it moves again. From Cascadia's overdue silence to Chile's hidden gap, from Alaska's restless swarms to Japan's creeping fault, and Kamchatka's monster rupture that shook the entire planet, the signs are clear. Earth's greatest tectonic giant is restless. The only question left is, which side will snap first? Will it be Cascadia, unleashing America's nightmare quake? Chile's trench, where centuries of stress still lie locked? Japan's Nankai Trough, threatening tens of millions? Or another colossal shock from Kamchatka's volatile frontier? Nobody knows. But all signs point to a future where the Pacific Rim will face another civilization-level test. The Earth is speaking loudly right now. Our task is to listen and prepare. If you found this breakdown eye-opening and want to stay ahead of seismic shifts, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. Because when the next rupture comes, the more people who understand the risks, the better prepared we'll all be.